Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Rebecca Brandstetter, school psychologist and founder of Thriving Students Collective. And I have my coffee because, of course, this is Coffee Break School Psychology. And I have with me the wonderful Donna Volpitta. And Donna, do you have your coffee?
I had my tea, but I don't have it with me right now. I
And that
apologize. I already drank my coffee at 6 o'clock this morning.
I'll allow it. Okay. All right. As long as you're caffeinated and ready to talk to us about a really important topic, and that's mental health literacy. So, can you quickly share who you are and why you're delighted to be on Coffee Break School Psychology today?
Thank you so much. I am delighted to be on the show today. It's awesome. And I am Dr. Donna Volpitta. I'm an educator by trade. I was a teacher for many, many years. I'm the parent of 4 young adults, so have a lot of experience in that area as well. And I am a an author. I write brain-based mental health literacy content, and I am co-founder of the Mental Health Literacy Collaborative, which is, I think, what we're talking about today.
It absolutely is. So, as a school psychologist, you probably know this. Actually, it's a pop quiz. You've had your coffee. Do you know what the current ratio is of school psychologists to students?
Oh, I know it's ridiculous. I think the recommendation is like 250 students to one school psychologist, and I don't think we even get close to that in most states.
No, it's almost 1,200. So when we think about mental health, I think gone are the days, if there ever were any, in which we can, as educators, send everyone to the school psychologist, the school counselor, the school social worker. For one, I think our mental health need is great, and two, our pipeline and the number of folks who are in the school buildings who are prepared to provide mental health services is greatly under resourced. So here we are today talking about what we can do because we all got to show up on Monday anyway, and we all need to be able to address the need of our students. So tell us, we're going to do three things. Good things come in threes, Donna. We're going to do three things that you want everyone to know about mental health literacy. So kick us off with the first thing that you think everyone ought to know.
I think the first thing that everybody needs to know is what mental health literacy is. We currently have 30 states that require some form of mental health education in schools, but there's a huge gap between policy and practice. And a big barrier is that people don't know what it is. Traditionally, when we think of mental health, we think of services. And we like to say that that's kind of like Smokey Bear, teaching people how to put out forest fires, but not how to prevent them. Mental health literacy is proactive tier one education, and it's a missing piece of health literacy. We all have health literacy. We all learned how to take care of our bodies, how to put on sunscreen, how to go to the doctor for our yearly checkup, how to, recognize signs and symptoms. But mental health literacy was a missing piece of that. And when we talk about mental health literacy, we're talking about universal education, it's content, it's information that teaches 4 things. The first is how to foster and maintain positive mental health. So just like I know how to eat healthy and I know how to exercise to take care of my heart and my body, understanding how do I take care of my mental health? How do I keep myself mentally healthy? The second is understanding common mental health disorders and treatments. So, just like I can talk about what strep throat is, what diabetes is, what cancer is, I don't have to treat them. I don't have to diagnose them. I just can have a knowledgeable conversation about them. And that's what mental health literacy is having that same sort of understanding about things like bipolar disorder or schizophrenia or major depressive disorder. So understanding what a mental health disorder is and isn't, and then understanding that there are treatments for a lot of them and that people can thrive with mental disorders. The third area of mental health literacy is understanding how to seek help effectively. So, recognizing those signs and symptoms and knowing where to go to get help and how to get help. And the fourth area is understanding how to reduce stigma around mental health, which I always say that if we teach the first three well, we'll teach the fourth. It just happens because we reduce stigma through knowledge. So, mental health literacy is education. It's a missing piece of health literacy, and it is in teachers' wheelhouse.
I think that what you're saying, really resonates with me as someone who works in the schools and works with, educators and mental health providers in school districts. Um, is that you're right that we think of mental health as like something that's after the fact, that like, okay, let's go fix some mental health problem, but really it starts below that. It starts with that tier one intervention. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but what I've noticed is that I spend a great deal of time on TikTok. And I've noticed there's a lot of sort of attempts at mental health literacy, and a lot of folks talking about bipolar and narcissistic personality disorder. And I've seen it broaden out to people understanding and sort of self diagnosing on TikTok. What do you make of that?
I think we are seeing a lot of that. I think that when we don't have information and we seek information, we get it where we can get it. And right now, TikTok is giving a lot of information. Unfortunately, in some ways, that can be very damaging because we're talking about it and we are seeing a lot of self-diagnosis and you know just like we see a lot of people going on and diagnosing themselves with physical health disorders and saying, when you begin to read all the signs and symptoms of everything, you can begin to be worried that you have everything. So I think it's important that people have accurate information, and that's why we need to begin to teach this in schools.
And you mentioned something earlier that I want to follow up on, the second point, which is you said this is in teachers' wheelhouse. And we have a lot of teacher listeners out there. And I imagine them saying, no, I signed up to be a math teacher. I'm definitely able to support my students, but doesn't this belong in the hands of mental health professionals?
It's interesting because mental health literacy is not therapy. And a lot of teachers say, I've already got so much on my plate. And we like to say, it's already on your plate. It's under the mashed potatoes because you're afraid of it. So you've hidden it under the mashed potatoes. We're going to teach you the information so that you have the confidence to address it. Kids are dealing with mental health issues and teachers are dealing with it, but they're not prepared. So we say that mental health literacy takes professional learning. Like there are ways to understand, oh, okay, I can understand this information. There's content out there, but it does not take clinical expertise. Teachers are there to give the information and then help them recognize when they need to go that next step further. And one of the things about mental health literacy is it makes those referrals more accurate so that we're not sending everybody to the school psychologist when we don't have enough of those. We begin to, when teachers have the mental health literacy to teach that content and recognize those signs and symptoms, and when it's time to get help, they can be more accurate about referring students.
Can I follow up with like super tactical? You mentioned earlier, and I don't know how you described it, but I call it the research to reality gap, which is, a lot of educators and parents out there might know some things about mental health literacy, but then like when, like you said, it's kind of, feels really uncomfortable to start sort of teaching that when it's not your area of expertise. So can you give me some maybe practical examples of ways that your organization has worked with teachers to and parents to empower them? Is it like a curriculum? Are they spending morning meetings talking about mental health? Like, bring me down to the reality of what a teacher out there listening could do when they're interested in it and they know that's on their plate and there's kids are having mental health crises in their classroom and they don't feel equipped. What does it look like to bring mental health literacy in the classroom?
So we have, as the Mental Health Literacy Collaborative, we do not promote any particular curriculum that teaches those four areas. What we do is we have something called Mental Health Literacy Aware, which is a 1 hour asynchronous program that just teaches people what mental health literacy is, why it's important, and how to begin to advocate for it in their community. And that's sort of that base layer of just, and in fact, we're doing some research on it, particularly with educators, where we're giving confidence surveys before and after taking that 1 hour course. So all we're trying to do is give people the confidence that they understand what it is and why it's important and how to get it. And so we found that teachers, before they take that 1 hour, their confidence level is about 40%. And after they take that hour-long asynchronous course, their confidence level is about 95%. And one of the things that we point to is resources. In particular, there is an organization called Chad's Legacy Project, and Todd and Laura Crooks started that. They lost their son to suicide, and they believe that if mental health literacy was taught in school, that Chad might still be alive. And so they dedicated themselves to creating a mental health literacy library. And so they have been working with the University of Washington's Smart Center to vet mental health literacy curriculum. And so that's mental health, let's see, mentalhealthinstruction.org. Is the website. And that has vetted mental health literacy content. So teachers can get curriculum there and they can look and search it, and they will be adding more to that, because now that mental health literacy is now required in many states, there's more content being developed.
Sounds to me like what you're saying is before we like get excited and get a curriculum and jump in there and do morning meetings with our students, the first thing is really a mindset shift and really thinking about your role as an educator, or even as a mental health provider, and really understanding those 4 steps. So really understanding the basics first, and then you can apply them with any curriculum that you so choose. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. We don't, as a mental health literacy collaborative, we don't promote any particular curriculum. We just say, when we teach those 4 things, the understanding how to foster and maintain positive mental health, understanding common mental health disorders and treatments, understanding how to seek help effectively, and understanding how to reduce stigma, those 4 things, we have 2 decades of research about the benefits of teaching those. So some of the stuff you might already have in place. But looking at, how do we integrate that? How do we become more confident? Because this was a missing piece when we were in school. Parents don't have it, teachers don't have it, workforce doesn't have it, first responders don't have it. We did not learn mental health literacy. So now we need to catch up and get to feel more confident.
I 100% agree. And for all you school psychologists and folks out there listening, this sounds like something that MTSS teams need to start thinking about if they aren't already strategically. That's multi-tiered systems of support, for those of you who don't have educational jargon bingo at the ready, because we're looking at system-wide. So I like to call it, in my Thriving School Psychologist course, we're looking at the wiring instead of putting out fires all day long. And so if you're interested in putting not just putting out fires all day long, but looking at the wiring of your school, making sure some of these research-backed interventions are baked into the DNA of your school versus an afterthought or something extra or an add-on, I encourage you to go to the Mental Health Literacy Collaborative. And now is your chance for your plug. Let's do this. Plug your organization, where people can find you and learn more.
So you can find us at www.themhlc.org. And we have a free downloadable toolkit. We have a lot of information about initiatives that we're doing right now. We're about to launch an interstate work group. So we're helping to facilitate states as they're working together to implement this. It is really something that is moving ahead, and so it's important to understand it. And we have that 1 hour asynchronous program. We just launched the educator specific program. So that is available on the website as well.
I can't thank you enough for your time. This was brief but informative, which is the whole flavor of our coffee break school psychology, which is dropping knowledge here, just 10 minutes at a time. And even though you didn't have coffee on the show, I still think it was a successful endeavor.
Thank you so much.
And I really appreciate your time and the work you're doing out there in the world. So please go to the Mental Health Literacy Collaborative and check out Donna Volpitta. Did I say it right the second time?
Mhm.
Excellent. We're always learning here at Coffee Break School Psychology. All
Always
right.
have-
Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Well, hello there. I'm Dr. Beck. I can't speak. I'm going to try that again. Bloopers. Hi. I know my name, I promise.